right, folks, this is the 2-minute warning. Reporters who are online, please raise your hand to ask a question. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are expecting winter weather to return to North Carolina this weekend. It will impact the majority of the state. In some parts of North Carolina, kids might experience their first real snow, and I can remember when my kids would look forward to the snow days. They'd watch TV and wait to see Wake County schools scroll at the bottom of the screen, and then we would go sledding over at Dorothea Dix Park. And I hope that some parents who are watching this can make special memories of their own with their kids. But winter storms are not just fun and games. For much of the state, folks will see ice instead of snow. And whether you find yourself facing ice or snow, we've all got to be prepared for whatever impacts may come. Yesterday, I declared a state of emergency across North Carolina to get ready for the storm. We've activated the State Emergency Response Team, which is a cross-agency group that includes the Department of Transportation, the Department of Public Safety, the North Carolina National Guard, the State Highway Patrol, and our state's utilities. Soon, you're going to hear from North Carolina Emergency Management Director Will Ray about the winter storm and our emergency response operations, and then from Secretary Daniel Johnson about NCDOT's work to keep our roads as safe as possible. As Director Ray will outline, this winter storm will likely impact the majority of the state. At this time, our greatest concerns are potential power outages and road safety over the coming days. Ice accumulation may lead to power outages, and we recommend everyone keep their devices charged, have a flashlight and battery-operated radio on hand, and think about what you may need to stay warm and fed if you lose power. Precipitation and freezing temperatures may also make a mess of our roads, even with the 300,000 gallons of brine that NCDOT has already put down. Thawing and refreezing leads to black ice, so everyone needs to be careful on the roads for not only during the storm, but for a few days after the storm hits. Please avoid driving unless it is necessary to travel. This will keep you safe and the roads clear for first responders and anyone else who must be on the road. Some communities may open warming stations for those who need a safe refuge from the cold temperatures. You can find information on resources in your community by visiting your local government and emergency management agency's website and social media accounts. This morning, in addition to Director Ray and Secretary of Transportation Johnson, I'm also joined by Secretary of Public Safety Jeff Smythe, Major General Todd Hunt of the North Carolina National Guard, and the commander of the State Highway Patrol, Colonel Freddie Johnson. Jackie Mativier and Mary Lee Bahar are our Spanish language interpreters, and our American Sign Language interpreters are Stephen Holland and Abby Quick. As we stand here now, emergency management officials, Department of Transportation crews, State Highway Patrol troopers, and the National Guard are hard at work preparing for the winter weather, brining the roads, pre-positioning resources, clearing abandoned cars from the shoulders of our highways, and working closely with local governments across the state to coordinate assistance quickly. High clearance vehicles are ready to support stranded drivers. The Forest Service is ready to remove downed trees from roads. Aviation assets, planes, helicopters are ready if needed. During winter weather, just like in any severe weather situation in our state, our number one priority is to keep people safe. So we recommend that you take the following actions to navigate this winter weather event. First of all, stay informed. Make sure you're following your local media, the National Weather Service, and your local emergency management agency. Second, get prepared. Think about what you would need during and after a major storm. Things like enough water, non-perishable food, medication, and supplies for 3 to 5 days for each person and pet in your household. Also, a flashlight, fresh batteries, a way to keep your phone charged, blankets, and winter clothing. Visit readync.gov for more detailed information about how you can best prepare. Next, make a plan. How will you safely heat your home if the power goes out? How will you cook safely if the power is out? And what will you eat if cooking is not an option? Where will you go if you cannot stay at home? Finally, let me repeat this. Starting Saturday, please do everything you can to stay off the roads. Unless you're a first responder or essential personnel, please don't drive unless you have to drive. Fortunately, we have 2 days to make sure that we have everything we need to ride out this storm. Don't wait until it's too late. And if as you're getting ready, don't forget to check on your loved ones and neighbors and anyone who might be especially vulnerable, including the elderly. None of us can control what this storm will ultimately look like, but each of us can get prepared. Be ready to stay home for a few days, potentially without power, and know that we are taking this storm seriously, and we will do everything we can to keep you safe. Thank you. I'll now invite forward and turn it over to Director Ray.
Thank you, Governor, and good morning, everyone. I want to begin this morning with the forecast as we have it currently, and then provide an overview of our operational posture. As the Governor said, while there are still 2 days before this winter storm impacts North Carolina, confidence in the forecast continues to increase that this will be a significant event covering most of the state. Winter storm watches have been issued for most of the state, with impacts from this storm expected to last into early next week. The most impactful precipitation remains over the weekend, where a wintry mix is forecast across much of the state. Light precipitation is forecast to begin early on Saturday, spreading from west to east. The primary precipitation types include some snow, sleet, and accumulating freezing rain, with the best chances of any accumulating snow being in our northern counties. Our partners at the Weather Prediction Center have placed a probability of 60 to 90% for much of the state to experience moderate impacts. These impacts include hazardous driving conditions, especially on bridges and overpasses, damage to tree limbs from ice accumulation, and power outages that have the potential to be long-lasting. Portions of the state may experience major impacts, especially in the southwestern North Carolina, which can include considerable disruptions to daily life, with dangerous and often impassable driving conditions, as well as widespread power outages and damage to trees. As a reminder, ice accumulations of around a ½ inch of ice or more can cause an increase in downed trees or impact power lines and lead to an increase in power outages, as well as to hazardous travel conditions. Bitterly cold temperatures will move into much of the state Saturday and will last into Tuesday at this time. There are several important reminders if you lose power during this storm. Please ensure that generators are operated outside and away from open windows or doors to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Never burn charcoal indoors or use a gas grill indoors. Properly vent kerosene heaters and make sure that all heaters have space around them to reduce fire risk. Use battery-powered sources of light instead of candles to, again, reduce fire risk. And make sure that you have plenty of warm blankets and clothing available. Based on the current forecast, hazardous travel conditions are expected Saturday and Sunday and may remain for several days due to the lingering low temperatures. As the governor stressed, we would ask all North Carolinians to finalize preparations by Friday night and plan to stay off the roads this weekend. Unnecessary travel not only puts you at risk, but also the public safety personnel, power crews, and DOT workers who are working to respond to emergencies, to restore power, and to clear roadways quickly. If you must drive in winter conditions, our partners with the State Highway Patrol advise reducing speed significantly, increasing the following distance between you and other vehicles, and clearing all snow and ice from your vehicle before traveling. Given the forecast, let's make their work easier by staying off the roads unless absolutely necessary. The State Emergency Response Team has been activated here at the State Emergency Operations Center as well as at our regional coordination centers in Kinston, Burlington, and Hickory. Key partners such as the Department of Transportation, the North Carolina National Guard, and the State Highway Patrol, as well as the Department of Health and Human Services, are working to address any resources or support that is requested by our local communities. We've also activated our warehouses in Burlington and in Baden and Stanley County. As of this morning, the State Emergency Response Team has provided water, meals, medical supplies, and heating equipment to local communities or partners who have requested that support. We're mobilizing elements of the North Carolina National Guard over the course of today and tomorrow to be able to assist with stranded motorists, assisting first responders with their emergency response, roadway clearance, and commodity distribution. Additionally, we are placing aviation assets from the North Carolina National Guard and the State Highway Patrol on standby for any rescue or movement of critical resources and personnel into impacted communities as this storm moves out of the state later this weekend and as conditions allow. Hotspot crews are being deployed along our major roadways, primarily in western North Carolina, along I-40 in Clyde, I-40 at Old Fort in McDowell County, on the Saluda Grade in Polk County, along I-77 and US 321 at Turner Grade in Surry County. As a reminder, these are combination teams of the NCDOT and North Carolina National Guard to ensure safe movement and address stranded vehicles from along our major roadways. These teams will be moved around those impacted areas as needed. The North Carolina Forest Service from the Department of Agriculture will be activating personnel and equipment to assist communities with tree removal from roadways as necessary to ensure both public safety access and general support to those communities. Strategic communications personnel and equipment are being positioned to assist with ensuring communication pathways are sustained and quickly restored if impacted. Our partners at the North Carolina Office of Emergency Medical Services are monitoring the needs of our healthcare community across the state, particularly our licensed care facilities and hospitals, to quickly address any needs impacting patients. We will continue to work with the entire State Emergency Response Team, our local and state governments, the private sector, and our nonprofit and volunteer partners as the forecast continues to evolve to ensure we can support the 11 million North Carolinians. As we go into the weekend, it is imperative that, again, all North Carolinians are prepared with a personal preparedness kit of food, water, flashlights, batteries, and a plan to stay warm if you lose power. For preparedness information and checklists, as the governor said, please visit readync.gov. Finally, please check on your friends, your family members, and your neighbors, or those in your community who may need additional support this weekend. We are stronger and more resilient together. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Governor and Director Ray. North Carolina Department of Transportation has been preparing for this storm all week. Our crews and contractors have been busy over the past several days, pre-treating roads, preparing their equipment, and rebolstering our supplies of salt. As noted before, the latest forecasts show a widespread event that's likely to spread ice throughout the state of North Carolina, and an event that has the potential to impact all roads in North Carolina. Some locations could see winter weather like they haven't seen in years. For these reasons, this storm has our full attention. We have more than 2,100 specially trained employees available to respond to the storm. More than 1,100 of those employees have already been hard at work pre-treating the roads. They've pre-treated thousands of miles of roads with over 300,000 gallons of brine. We also have 1,250 dump trucks that can be fitted to clear snow and ice. We've got 913 contract trucks that are prepared and 217 motor graders on standby. We are staging some of that equipment in areas that are known trouble spots during the winter storm. And we have more than 150,000 tons of salt to treat roads and are actively securing additional salt to replenish supplies throughout the storm. If the current forecast holds, road conditions will deteriorate quickly as the storm moves through the state Saturday and into Sunday. Our crews are prepared to work around the clock in shifts to plow and treat snow and ice until the state-maintained roads are cleared. This includes our teams that will work to remove fallen trees and debris from roadways and work with our utility partners in instances that involve down power lines. Their efforts will be invaluable in restoring connectivity if ice is a major component of this storm, which is expected at this time. As always, our first priorities are the major interstates, followed by 4-lane highways, state and U.S. routes, and then secondary roads. We also have a support system in place so staff from less impacted regions can shift resources throughout the state where needed. We always work with our partners in the State Highway Patrol and the North Carolina National Guard as well. As noted before, this storm could be significant, followed by a prolonged period of cold, which means the roads could stay icy for the days ahead. We ask the public for your cooperation and your patience. Our crews will work hard to get your roads cleared as soon as possible. We urge people to get prepared now for what's shaping up to be a very cold period in store for our state. Please don't try to drive once the storm hits unless it's necessary. Cars and ice simply do not mix. This will keep you safe and give our crews and emergency responders the space they need to do their jobs. Once conditions start to improve, please check drivenc.gov to get the latest travel information. Please protect yourselves, your families, and everyone responding to this storm by being patient and playing it safe. Thank you, Governor.
Secretary Johnson from the Department of Transportation. At this point, we're happy to take questions from folks in the audience, and if you would just go to the microphones and identify yourselves, and we'll go from there.
Are there any parts of the state that you're monitoring closely as this storm has the potential to come with some pretty serious impacts?
The weather models indicate that the storm is going to hit the vast majority of the state in one way or another. The greatest likelihood of a lot of snow is in the far southwest, Transylvania County area. And really, it's only the far east where the rest of us need to be on alert.
Hi, Caroline Yaffa with WRAL News. What authority does the state have right now if utilities or private contractors fail to restore service quickly, and are you prepared to use it?
I am very confident in the leading utility, Duke Energy, as well as all the electric co-ops and electricities, that they are taking this storm very seriously, and they are bringing in assets from other states that are not as threatened as North Carolina is. And so they are taking it extremely seriously, and we look forward to working with them, clearing the roadways so they can quickly get where they need to go to ensure that people's power is restored as soon as possible. Thank you.
Hey, Adam Ladd from WNC. What are the latest projections from Duke Energy as far as the number of people who could lose power in this storm that you've seen?
I think at this point, it's just entirely premature for them to be able to know how many people will lose power. It really all depends on how much ice accumulates. The more ice there is, the more trees that will fall. If there's incredible amounts of ice, it can actually impact the lines themselves. The vast majority of people will lose power, not because the lines fail, but because trees fall on those lines. So we don't know how extensive it will be. We anticipate that there will be people who lose power over the weekend. Duke Energy is also anticipating that, and that is why they are bringing in crews from across the country so that they can be prepared to respond as quickly as possible. These temperatures are going to be very low in the days that follow, and we don't want anyone to be without power for any minute longer than is absolutely necessary. And I know that Duke Energy feels exactly the same way.
And then Director Ray mentioned the communications infrastructure. I'm wondering if you can sort of walk me through maybe what some of the lessons we learned from Helene and the prolonged outages there, or how those are kind of being used now during this event to keep things up.
Director Ray?
Thanks, sir. Thank you for the question. I think whether it's Helene or some of the events that we've dealt with in the past, I think the continued focus on making sure that state partners, state agencies, response partners, as well as our local communities have multiple layers of redundant communications. And so a number of the response assets that we push out from a variety of the agencies that you see here on the stage now come with some redundant comms equipment that now goes out with them as a result of some of the lessons learned we've had from both Helene as well as some recent events. Those are steps that many of our local governments and major public safety agencies have also taken. We have refined some of the available communications assets that we have here available at a state level. We've moved some of those into primarily a central part of the state based on some potential needs and where we could see maybe potential impacts and need that support. So I think what you're seeing certainly after Helene, but again, really after every event, is a continued prioritization and focus on making sure that we've got the right communications assets out there to be able to support public safety as well as access to public safety. And again, I think our partners at the State Highway Patrol have done an incredible job maintaining the Viper system. And again, I think are focused on making sure that that system continues to be strong and resilient and available for those that need it.
Just real quick, when you say communications assets, are you talking like Starlinks, mobile towers? Like what are we talking about?
All of the above. I think whether it's mobile radios, whether it's a capability like Starlink, whether it's we have mobile towers, we have some other kind of packages that have been put together that have multiple capabilities on it to be able to help local governments or local public safety agencies or our state partners be able to access necessary networks.
Just to follow up on that, General Hunt briefed us this morning about the work of the National Guard, and each of these pre-positioned groups have Starlink with them in addition to traditional forms of communication. We just want to make sure that we're able to talk to each other no matter what happens with the weather. I'm sorry, Dawn.
Right, Dawn Vaughn, the News and Observer. You mentioned a couple different trouble spots. What exactly makes them trouble spots, and what does that look like as far as adding resources there in terms of equipment, personnel? You know, what's the extra going to do to help them?
I'll have Secretary Johnson address that in detail, but basically it's when the places in North Carolina where the highways go up quickly, Old Fort, on heading up the escarpment in Surrey County and Polk County, but if you would, Will.
Yes, thank you, Governor. Yes, that's right. I mean, basically anywhere there's a steep grade where traction and it's in icy conditions, vehicles are likely to lose traction and lose control more frequently. So we pre-position. We know this from over time and learning from history. Where those spots are going to take place, and so we've pre-positioned some equipment there and some of our resources as well to try to accelerate clearing those roads and getting them back to usable condition.
Is it more trucks? Is it communicating with, tractor trailer trucks that are coming through North Carolina from other states as far as getting the message out about those areas? And is it just plowing the roads? What specifically are you doing?
I think it's a combination of all those things. I think our ITS team is working hard to get communications out, and we'll continue to monitor the storm. As it's not completely predictable exactly where it will hit, but we can push those messages out both to the trucking community and the traveling public on where those hotspots are. Obviously, we're encouraging everyone in the commercial community and in just the general public that might be traveling to stay off the roads once this storm hits on Saturday. But we will be pushing out those communications to reiterate, where those spots might be or where troubles may exist on those spots and other places across the state where we might not expect it.
Actually, Colonel Johnson, I'll have you come forward if you would. Tell me what because you have troopers in those locations too. What do your troopers experience sometimes in these hotspot locations?
So thank you, Governor. And to add to that, so we have a very strong partnership with the Department of Transportation and our National Guard partners. They'll put heavy vehicles out there to help get these vehicles cleared out of the road if they get stuck, get them out of that area. But what we see is like he said, the vehicles, we have a high concentration of crashes in these areas due to the grade. And then to go further to answer your point, we also communicate, we have a very strong partnership with the North Carolina Trucking Association, and we've messaged with them where these hotspots are as well so they can alert all these companies. North Carolina is part of a mega transport region, so we have a lot of that traffic in North Carolina. So we partner with them, they notify their federal partners, so everybody gets alerted of what's going on through this area. But we have troopers staged specifically with our Department of Transportation partners and these National Guard units that's going to be there helping us. To answer your question.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mary Helen with Axios Raleigh. I have a couple questions about the roads too. Are you grateful this storm is arriving on a weekend so you don't have like the 9 to 5 commute to worry about? And when it comes to asking people to stay off the roads, are y'all like calling companies and stuff? Like, are you asking like the Amazons, the delivery drivers of the world to stop this weekend, or are you just relying on them to make those decisions?
Great question. There's no question that the fact that it looks like the storm is going to hit over the weekend, it's good because a lot fewer people travel during the weekends than they do during the weekdays. So that's to the good. It does raise risks on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with the black ice that will be on the highways. The temperatures are going to get well below freezing every night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And that will lead to whatever slush that melted over the course of the previous day to turn into ice that night. And that's obviously incredibly problematic for traveling. We have not been calling the private delivery companies and generally leave it to their own good judgment. I don't know if Will or Dan, you want to offer anything on that? Okay, thank you.
Governor, with the Glenn Wright with Progressive News, with the Walk for Peace transiting through North Carolina, have you given them any warnings or expressed concerns to them, or are you just leaving it to them to make their decisions?
We are certainly aware of their coming, and we really regret for their sake and the general public's sake. I know people were really excited to welcome them to Raleigh. So we're aware of them, we're in touch with them. At this point, we're not telling them what they should be doing. Again, sort of like with the delivery companies, we leave everyone to make their own judgment as to what makes the most sense for them. And I will ask my colleagues if they have anything else to add. Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's Ethan from North Carolina's Weather Authority. One of the main questions I'm getting is massive concern across the mountains about if power is lost, how is the state preparing to maintain water resources? Since there's been concerns of weakened infrastructure across Helene. It seems to be a very big concern. Yeah, the infrastructure concerns are not limited just to electricity, but electricity drives water distribution, wastewater systems. We're worried about telecommunication systems. This has the potential to be a massive disruption to people's lives. There's not that much we can do in advance to pre-position because we don't know where it's going to hit other than what we're doing by going to these sort of known hotspots. But one reason why we have the aerial assets on call is so that if we learn about a specific community that has experienced some catastrophic damage to their water infrastructure, that we can get resources to that area as quickly as possible to get those resources back online. Anything else? Good. All right, at this point, we'll take questions from folks who are by phone. If you could, just identify your interest in making a question, and you will be called upon. And again, it would be helpful if you identified your name and your media outlet.
Hi, Gomez. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hi, Governor. Thanks so much for taking our questions. Forgive me if this has already been answered, but the I-40 heading through the Pigeon River Gorge, heading into Tennessee, tends to be a major problem area in previous storms. Is there anything in particular that's happening there this time around? Will that road be open over the weekend? And anything else that people should know if they're heading that way?
That was a topic. Thank you for your question, Felicia. That was a topic during our morning briefing. Colonel Johnson has been in close communication with the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and it's something we're keeping a close eye on at this point. The highway has not been closed at this moment, but we will keep an eye on it. Next question. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you.